Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the City Council meeting for Tuesday, October 10th, 2023. I will now call this meeting to order and ask the City Clerk to call the roll, please.
Mayor Wells is absent. All others are present.
Okay, thank you. Would you all please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The City Clerk posted orders of adjournment of the September 26th, 2023 meeting and the agenda of the October 10th, 2023 meeting in accordance with state law, City Council, and Housing Authority policy. We have 3 proclamations on today's agenda, and so I'd like to invite Chief Coe from Heartland Fire up to the podium for our first proclamation. And who has the proclamation for him? Our Assistant City Clerk, Jen Janzer. No, actually, I'm going to read it for you because we are honoring you.
Perfect.
So if you'll allow me to do that. You just have to kind of stand there and look fierly. The 2023 Fire Prevention Week theme is Cooking Safety Starts With You. Pay attention to fire prevention. Fire is a serious public safety concern both locally and nationally. And homes are the locations where people are at greatest risk from fire. Cooking safety is critical to prevent home fires, injuries, and deaths. It is important to have a home escape plan, drawing a map of each level of the home, showing all doors and windows for different ways out. El Cajon residents should practice the home fire escape plan with everyone in their household, including visitors, and teach children to escape on their own in case adults cannot help them. Once residents are out, they should stay out, never going back inside the home for people, pets, or things. Now, therefore, Bill Wells, Mayor for the City of El Cajon, together with the City Council, do hereby proclaim October 8th to 14th to be Fire Prevention Week in the City of El Cajon. Congratulations, and thank you for your contributions to keeping us safe. Deputy Chief Nelson, you want to say any words? Or?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Goebel. I appreciate the proclamation. I'm going to turn it over to our Fire Marshal, Sean Richardson.
Sounds good.
Just a quick note on the advent of Fire Prevention Week. It's to commemorate the Great Chicago Fire back in 1871. It's the longest running public health message. It's the 101st year this year. So we believe the impact is great, and we really do appreciate the city providing this message to the citizens.
Well, thank you. And we're very fortunate to have Heartland Fire, an ISO Class 1 agency of which fewer than 1% of the more than 34,000 fire agencies in the country achieve that ranking. So we're grateful to have your professionalism and service. So congratulations, and thank you as well.
Thank you.
All right, the second proclamation is for HR Professionals Day. I will ask Marisol Thorne, our Director of HR, there she is, to come on up, and I will read the proclamation while you stand at the podium.
And Mr. Goebel, after you read the proclamation, I'd love to say a few words, if I could, too, about this one and the next one, if that's possible.
Sounds good.
Okay.
We'll do. Okay, congratulations to all of our HR professionals. Here they come for Human Resources Professional Day, which was recently held in September 26th. So I will read the proclamation. Whereas the City of El Cajon recognizes the crucial role played by human resources professionals in fostering a positive work environment and enhancing the overall quality of our municipal workforce. Human resource professionals dedicate their experience, time, and effort to attract, develop, and retain talented individuals who contribute significantly to the growth and success of our community. And whereas these dedicated individuals, like those that stand before you, serve as the backbone of our city's personnel management, providing essential services such as recruitment, training, employee relations, benefits administration, and ensuring compliance with employment laws and regulations. And whereas HR professionals consistently strive to uphold the highest standards of professionalism, ethics, and equity in all aspects of their work, fostering an atmosphere of fairness and inclusivity within our workforce. The City of El Cajon wishes to express its deep appreciation for the dedication and commitment of our human resources professionals in enhancing the efficiency, productivity, and well-being of our city employees. Now, therefore, Bill Wells, Mayor for the City of El Cajon, together with the City Council, do hereby proclaim last 26th day of December 2023 to be HR Professionals Day in the City of El Cajon, and urge all residents, businesses, and community organizations to join us in recognizing and honoring the invaluable contributions of HR professionals in our city. Congratulations and thank you to you all. All right, Mr. City Manager, the floor is yours.
Just really quickly, this city council has placed a lot of priority on public safety and ensuring that there's public safety in our community. But it's organizations or departments like Human Resources that allow that public safety, those public safety people to be hired. And so I just want to really introduce them to the council because I know you work with them, but also to the community and recognize them. Brenna has been here for 1 year with the City of El Cajon. We were her first place of full-time employment, municipal employment, so we're glad to have her. Selena has been with us for 7 years, and all 7 years have been with us. Chelsea's been in the HR profession for 7 years, 5 years with the City of El Cajon. Megan has been here has 13 years of HR experience with 6 years with us. In fact, I think you started the week I started. Okay, it seems like it was right about the same time. And then Marisol has 22 years of HR experience, and she's been with the city for 9 years. And they do such a myriad of things from recruiting to wellness to mental health, just a lot of things. I just wanted to read a couple statistics. Since January of this year, so just not even a full year, they've hired 33 people, have overseen 14 promotions, they've managed 52 recruitments, they've processed 82 workers' comp claims, and they've processed 22 wellness incentive programs that they kind of created. They also negotiated labor agreements with all but our police department. They held a wellness and benefits fair, and they also did a whole month's long worth of activities related to mental health awareness. So they do a lot with a very few number of individuals. So I just want to thank them personally.
Wonderful, thank you. Any
Thank
comments
you.
from council members? Oh, okay, you want to snuck one in there? Well, thank you for all your innovative ideas, such as the therapy dogs at our fire stations. I think there's even one in City Hall now that kind of roams around, or is it the police station?
It's police.
It's the police.
Yeah.
So we're working our way this way towards City Hall a little bit.
I can bring my dog.
You can bring your dog. I'm sure it's going to be a great addition. So thank you all for your contributions to the city, which are to the residents. So congratulations. All right, next we have National Community Planning Month. And I'll ask our Deputy Director of Community Development, Noah Alvey, to come up to accept the proclamation. Noah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Please let me read this proclamation for you. Whereas the month of October is designated as a National Community Planning Month throughout the United States of America, the American Planning Association and its professional institute, the American Institute of Certified Planners, endorsed National Community Planning Month as an opportunity to highlight the contributions sound planning and plan implementation make to the quality of our communities and environment. And whereas change is constant and affects all communities, and effective planning can help manage this change in a way that provides choices for where people live, work, shop, play, learn, and conduct business, and provide an opportunity for residents, property owners, and business owners to be meaningfully involved in making choices that determine the future of their community. And whereas the celebration of National Community Planning Month gives us the opportunity to publicly recognize the participation and dedication of City of El Cajon planning commissioners, staff planners, and administrative support staff who have contributed their time and expertise to the improvement of the City of El Cajon. So, therefore, Bill Wells, Mayor for the City of El Cajon, together with the City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2023 to be Community Planning Month in the City of El Cajon in conjunction with the celebration of National Community Planning Month. Please join us in applauding the many valuable contributions made by the City of El Cajon Planning Commission, staff, and partners. Mr. Mitchell.
Mr. Deputy Mayor, I provide the City Council a monthly memo about all the development that's occurring. And there's a lot. By the way, Noah actually writes that, so I have nothing to do with it except I just forward it on. So Noah is the author of that. Thanks, Noah. Make me look good. But there's a lot going on in the city. We actually publish that on our city website. So in the public, if you want to see what's going on in your neighborhood, there's a great document that shares what the project is, what it's going to be, completion dates, kind of the progress. So they're the ones that handle that. I just want to acknowledge them. Their fearless leader, Tony Shute, has a conflict, so he couldn't be here. But you know Noah. In the back, you have Mike. Mike, want to wave? Hey, there's Mike. Sable, Spencer, and Laura that make up our planning team, and quite a great team. Thank you.
Wonderful. 14.4 square miles in the City of El Cajon, and a lot of it's built out.
Yep.
But there's always projects going on to renew, replace, restore, refresh, and we appreciate you and your team here today in helping move that along quickly. You do a great job in turning things around quickly because anybody who's in construction knows time is money.
Yep.
They're paying mortgages on dirt, so the sooner you can help them get to a finished business, the better it is for everybody. So thanks for making a great effort in that area. Any comments you want to make?
No, thank you, Deputy Mayor and Council, for this honor. It's really through the Council's leadership and guidance that we are able to complete a lot of the complex work that we do, because that information and guidance comes from you. I did want to acknowledge, in addition to staff, our Planning Commission. So we have Darren Moroz, our Chair, Rebecca Pollock-Rood, our Vice Chair, Tony Sotile, Paul Circo, and Shannon Edison. Mr. Edison is actually in the audience. If you want to stand up, we could just give Mr. Edison a round of applause as well, please. Thank you. And that's it. Thank you so much for this proclamation.
Again, thank you for all your contributions in making our city a better place.
Thanks.
Okay, that brings me to a presentation, Haunt Fest on Main. That's just a couple weeks away, isn't it, Mr. Carson?
Yes, sir.
So you will tell us all the good things that are going to happen on Friday, October 20th.
Okay. Thank you, Deputy Mayor and Council, for having me today. What I want to also highlight is thanking Cox Communications, Kaiser Permanente, St. Malin Sophie Center, as well as our other sponsor, Downtown Oakland Business Partners. We have Kathy Zeman and Mark Clifton here also. Downtown Oakland Business Partners definitely put a lot of the funding into this event, so we don't want to forget them and all their graciousness that they do. They also provide the cash prizes for the costume contest, which you've all participated in one way or another. This year, the event is 4 to 9 p.m. next Friday, October 9. We like to do a little bit early and end it a little bit early. We find it like a slow start like that, and then a heavy end really helps out with the event in terms of managing it throughout. This year, we have many features that I do want to highlight. I don't want to forget that this is San Diego County's largest free entry Halloween event. The theme this year is Hotel Transylvania. We do have 2 stages with entertainment. One is going to be downtown Oakland Business Partner stage on the Prescott Promenade. One here at the Civic Center Plaza with our ever-engaging DJ Danny from 35 Productions. We also have city staff-run free games, free arts and crafts, free air jumps. We'll have the rock wall, the haunted maze, the free candy zones, and the costume contest prizes. Much of this is provided through the Downtown Oakland Business Partners, so again, we want to thank them for all their graciousness. Along with that, I did mention free, but we do have some items that do cost money. So we do have the food vendors, which are 8 food and 5 dessert vendors. We have amusement rides or mechanical rides that you can tell the difference just because they're all lit up and they're machinery. So those will be more of a pay-to-play option for people. And we have 7 craft vendors and 2 exhibitors. The 2 exhibitors would be MTS and a faith-based group coming in. So those are nonprofit or governmental entities. I'm often asked by council, well, what are you doing to market the event? So I'm sure you've seen a lot of, or some of the marketing, but one that I'm always most proud of, which is free to us, is we use in a collaborative effort with the Cajon Valley Union School District as their desktop display image on all the students' desktops is the image that you see there. So this was taken Sunday night by Howard Shun, their person in the school district that handles the desktop images. He sent me this Sunday night going, okay, it's there through HauntFest night. So I was like, all right, I can share this image at council. This is probably the best free-form marketing we can get right there, just that. We have it on the back of the My El Cajon newsletter that went out this fall. We have a save-date postcard that was also went out. News releases, social media. We have paid advertising on different social media platforms. We will be sending out emails through our email database and also text messages. I'm sure some of you that have signed up for our programs, you have actually received some of those in the past. Not this time. We haven't sent them out yet. We do have the street banners up. We've had those up for about 6 weeks, and we've had the billboard at the Prescott Promenade. That's been up for about 3 weeks now. So there's many other facets, but those are the main marketing pieces to the event. We're expecting up to about 25,000 people potentially at the event. So we're pretty excited that this year we've put a lot greater effort into it, expecting a larger crowd, so knowing that will be happening. I do want to make sure we recognize police and fire services as well as community development and public works, especially for all their support and making sure that this event does happen. This is a citywide event. This isn't just one department that puts it together. Every department, and we have many departments, actually staff that are volunteering their after hours to come and help with the games and arts and crafts, so we want to thank them as well.
Wonderful, thank you. Sounds like a great event. Let me see if there's any comments by council members. I know Councilman Kendrick said in the past this is one of our greatest gifts to the children of El Cajon. And I think I just spurred him to a comment.
Yeah, I've been going there for years, and it's wonderful. Don't miss the costume contest. They have some amazing costumes there, and lots of smiles on lots of kids' faces. So it's our gift to the children of El Cajon.
Right. And always grateful to our sponsors, Cox Communications, Kaiser Permanente, St. Madeline Sophie Center, and the Downtown El Cajon Business Partners.
Who are those sponsors again? Just want to get their,
Cox Communications, Kaiser Permanente, St. Madeline Sophie Center, and the Downtown El Cajon Business Partners.
We love telling their names because they support greatly. So thank you for the presentation.
All right, thank you.
Okay, we are now at agenda changes. Does staff have any agenda changes?
No changes, sir.
Council, any agenda changes? None? Okay, may we have a motion to approve? I'm sorry. Never mind. Moving on to consent items. Now, consent items, they are routine matters enacted by one motion according to the recommendation listed in each item. With the concurrence of the City Council, a council member or a person in attendance may pull an item, request discussion for action separately. Council members, do you wish to pull any consent items? Nope. Okay. Staff, pull any agenda items?
No, sir.
And Angela, do we have any speaker cards for agenda items?
We have no speaker cards,
No
sir.
speaker cards. Okay, so may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, please? So moved. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote of those present.
All right, moving along. Item number 8-ish, public comment. At this time, any person may address a matter within the jurisdiction of the El Cajon City Council Housing Authority successor agency that is not on the agenda. Comments related to the agenda are to be taken at the time of the item. State law prohibits us from discussing or acting on items not on the agenda. However, City Council members may respond to statements, ask questions, or refer to staff for future action. Angela, do we have any speaker comments for non-agenda public comment?
We do, sir. We have 4 speakers. The first one is Charlotte Kale.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yeah, there we go. We have a couple of just one council member and the city manager who has not received this morning. Okay. I left my notes behind. This morning, Terry gave the council members who have the old Spanish Trail through their district. There is now Interstate 8. There was US 80 before that. Before that, the first one that was put through into San Diego was the old Spanish Trail Auto Highway, which was mostly built on the one of the old Spanish trails. Our group from San Antonio, Texas, has been celebrating the centennial events that have happened on that old Spanish trail over the past 10 years. And we are now up to celebrating your centennial event, where there was a monument put on Horton Plaza for really for the work that Colonel Ed Fletcher did when he brought so many highways from the east, from Washington, D.C., from New York, from our highway, comes from St. Augustine, Florida, all the way over to you. And all of those came from Yuma on the same route that Colonel Fletcher encouraged when he stole it from L.A. So we're celebrating all of that. Colonel Fletcher's grandson, Lawrence Fletcher, and his daughter, Bonnie Fletcher, are going to speak in the lecture part of our conference. We have other events. We have a backcountry drive where old cars and people who attend the conference will be driving through the county on old US 80, which is the new. On our website, which is oldspanishtrailcentennial.com. You don't have to type all that word out. If you want to find more information about the conference, you can if you Google OST 100, ours pops up first. We have found that if you just Google OST, you'll get oysters and smoked turkey from Great Britain sent to you in a box. So anytime you want to Google it, use the OST 100. During our event, we're going to be handing out old 1925 travelogues, the new backcountry drive, and a larger drive for people to take the self-driving tour of the whole thing. Those will be handed out to people at our conference. So we highly recommend you all come. It doesn't run through Steve's district, I'm sorry, but we did the best we could. Okay. Are there any questions about how we are promoting it or what we can do to get more promotions?
Let me ask the council. Any questions or comments?
Okay.
Thank you for the invitation. That's history that I did not know, so that's very enlightening.
That's what we're doing. We're trying to get that history of the Old Spanish Trail. I will have to tell you that no cities knew that 100 years ago it was going through their city. So when we have met in Houston and Orange, Texas, and over in some of the other cities, they don't know. So don't feel bad. That's what we're here for. We're going to educate you on
Wonderful.
that.
Can Steve come even though it doesn't run through? Is he still invited, or are you going to block him at the entrance?
No.
Okay.
It's free and open to the public, and we ask for registrations if you want your free complimentary meals during the event, but we're inviting walk-ins as well.
Wonderful.
So towards the end of towards the end of this month, we'll start encouraging walk-ins to come.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next speaker.
Michael Cartwright.
And while Mr. Cartwright's coming up, I'm hearing a little bit of a feedback hum in here. Is that something we can address?
Well, my name is Mike Cartwright. I came to Elkhorn when I was 8 days old. I've been here longer than all of you. The city council, I was told that I really didn't have a constitutional right to request a hearing before this board. I found out the employees run the city council, not the city council running the employees. I sent you all a letter requesting a hearing before you in regards to WOW, which is Widows and Widowers, for a meeting room so that they could have a game once a month. Instead of getting a hearing before the board for a waiver of fees, we get a call from somebody from the Park and Recreation telling us $156. Well, to me, that's nothing. But to the ladies that do live in El Cajon, most of them, it does mean something. They can't afford it. And I was really surprised. Now, they mentioned Colonel Fletcher. Well, I played my first golf game with his golf clubs. Larry Fletcher loaned them to me, and I shined them up so they was shining. I went to Meridian when I was 5 years old. I went to Greenfield and to Granite Hills. I graduated when I was 16. I ended up in Southeast Asia when I was 18, 19, and 20. I have 4 cousins on the wall. Billy is missing in action over North Vietnam. My other 2 or 3 was James, Ralph. By the way, Ralph was the first, when, if you ever seen We Were Soldiers with Mel Gibson, the first time we had a major battle with the NBA, we had 4,000 against us with 300. He was one of the 89 deaths. And the last one is Robert Michael. And my name is Michael Robert. His birthday is February the 4th. Mine's February the 3rd. I don't know if I got constitutional rights to be heard before the city councils. I asked them. I sent them a letter requesting it to each one of you, to you as a group, to you singularly, to the city manager, to the city clerk, and to Park and Recreation. Now, some of the ladies that come are on fixed incomes, and they're elderly. They're seniors, most of them, and many of them live in El Cajon. Now, we can spend money on the party that you're going to have for Halloween. That's great. We used to have a festival for all the nations here, which was down on the parking lot. With Joan Shoemaker started. Now, when Joan Shoemaker was here and the other city councils, we used to have a lot of activities, and a lot of them were painted for senior citizens. Now, I was told that the reason why I didn't have a right to request a waiver of fees is because it's a select group. I can't help it, they're widows and widowers, and I can't help it, most of them are aged. And I'm very disappointed that I didn't get a comment from any city council person from the letters I sent them along with the information. Now, am I right? Is it the city manager that runs you guys that tells me that I cannot have a hearing for a waiver of fees? Or is it you're so lax you won't respond to a letter? Say yes, no, or hell no, one or the other. I mean, my family brought Bobby socks.
Mr. Cartwright, I'm sorry to interrupt. I've given you 4 minutes when you get 3. So if you'd like to take a couple seconds to wrap up, that would be great.
I know there was one person talked for 5.5 minutes, but that's okay. But like I'm saying, I'm very I don't know how to explain myself. I'm just very disappointed that you don't run them, they run you. So I guess we should vote for the city manager and the other people, the employees, versus you guys.
So my understanding is that you're in this situation because you were meeting at a church and the church sold and now you don't have a place anymore. Is that correct?
And the place they found, most of the ladies can't afford to do it because they buy food or a meal.
And I understand you've approached the city. Have you approached other churches that might be able to host you?
We tried. So far, none of them.
Okay.
Okay. I figured we tried the city. Now, as far as the $156, that doesn't mean that's nothing to me. But to some of the ladies, it is.
Okay, thank you. I think we'll talk with the city manager offline some more about possible solutions.
I
Let's see
wonder
if-
why you guys didn't even answer me.
Yeah, I apologize. I must have overlooked the letter, or I don't recall getting a letter from you.
Well, let me tell you something. I send one to each individually, one as a group, one to the city manager, one to the city clerk. I guess I should have sent it to the city attorney too, but I didn't do that.
If
They
you-
used to be our corporate attorneys. But hey,
Mr. Cartwright, if you wouldn't mind leaving your contact information, I'd be happy to.
you got my letter.
Well, I don't have your letter, so if you would want to leave your contact information with the clerk, I'd be happy to talk with you offline and talk with some churches that I know and see if they consider hosting your group. I'd be happy to do some footwork and contact as many churches as I know to see if it's once a month and they have these classrooms and facilities. I'd be happy to look into it with the handful of churches that I know.
Well, the churches I've checked with, if you're not a member, they're not interested.
So it sounds like Mr. Ortiz is willing to work with you to see if he can find a solution
okay.
for you.
I
So
mean, if he wants to make help, fine.
thank you for
But
taking the time to come express
I
your
just
thoughts
found it
today.
was very unprofessional of the city council not to respond to the letters.
Mr. Cartwright, I don't recall. Did you send it by regular postal or
Postal
email?
mail to you.
I
It was
don't recall
addressed to
ever
you,
receiving
to
a
this
letter,
city.
sir.
It was addressed to this city with your name and attention to you. Each letter had your individual names on it. Each letter was sent to you with your name on top. And even the city manager and the city clerk, their names are on it, and it was sent specifically to those persons, and to you guys as a group. So somebody's holding your mail.
So,
That
Mr.
tells
Cartwright,
me
thank you for taking the
in
time
the
to come in.
employees
We've
running
got
the
to
city of
go on to
Elkhorn,
the
not
next
you guys.
person waiting. So thank you for your time. Okay, next person, please.
Next speaker is Todd Blackwell.
Good afternoon. I'm here on behalf of myself and probably some other neighbors that live on my street. I've been a resident on my street, on Dorothy Street, for 6 years now, and the speeding of vehicles up and down the street at any given time during the day has become excessive over the last year, and I finally just told myself, to come to a meeting and get involved to see if there's some action or result that we can come to curtail the negative driving that's going on up and down the street. Maybe a speed bump. I know there's been some police presence here and there, and I know that they're spread thin, so that's probably not an alternative, but I'm thinking a couple of speed bumps might slow some people down, so that would be my request before you. To look into possibly, I'll pay for the asphalt if needed. That's where I'm at. It's just we had some young kids that lived across the street. They moved away, and one of them was autistic, and I feared for his life many times because he paid attention, but you didn't know it. And some of the cars don't care. And what's sad is they live in the neighborhood because it doesn't go to a major thoroughfare when you go up the street. So if we could look into getting a resolution, I think a speed bump would be the way to go. But if somebody could reach out and help me with the problem, I'd be grateful. That's all I have.
Sounds good. I know there are some regulations relating to speed bumps and how many neighbors have to sign off on that, and then there's other things we have experience that we can share with you on speed bumps. Let me ask the city manager to explain the steps of escalation of enforcement of speed on streets, from traffic trailers to motor officers to all sorts of ideas.
Certainly, this is the first time this has been brought to my attention, so we'll look into this. We'll contact the resident and get some more information. We'll do some analysis. We'll probably go out and do some measurements and see what the speeds look like, and then based on that, we'll ratchet up some certain levels of enforcement. As the council knows, there's sort of the 3 E's. There's education, enforcement, and then engineering. And if there's opportunities to figure out an engineering approach, speed hump would be an engineering approach. But there's less invasive ways that are less intrusive to neighborhoods. We've found that speed humps are typically looked at as the easy solution, but at the end of the day, they don't really solve the problem. In fact, they create some other problems too. So there's some other ways to create some engineering solutions. So we'll look at the street holistically and see if there's some bigger solutions. But we need right here at the dais, I don't know until we roll up our sleeves a little bit on this.
But certainly a portable travel trailer showing your speed is
certainly
something that could start quickly, couldn't it?
Yeah, we'll look at a couple different options.
Yeah, that would be a great thing. Okay, let me see if there's any questions for you from the council.
Oh, sir. Yes, sir. I have speed humps in front of my house over on D. Wayne Drive in Fletcher Hills.
Yes.
And I'm glad they're there. They slowed down traffic actually quite a bit. But one of the downsides I wanted you to be aware of is when someone has a truck and they have something in the back and they go over that bump, it goes thump, like really loud.
Sure.
And I get about 2 of those a night, but I think I have about 2,000 cars a day that go down my street. It's a collector street. So
sure.
that's the negative part of it. And I just fall right back asleep now because I'm used to it, just like when the train blows its horn every night at 1 a.m. But I'm sure the staff will do their best to try and solve this problem.
Yeah, I mean, I'm willing to go and visit with neighbors, and if you need a petition or something along that line, signatures or whatever, or comment from them, I'd be willing to gather that information as well because, I'm a neighborly guy. I try to be. So,
Mr. Ortiz.
Yeah, no, we have Mr. Blackwell. You said, is it right?
Blackwell.
Yeah. Thank you for coming. You're the eyes and ears in the community. We don't drive down every street.
Sure.
So if we don't hear it from you, we don't know what's going on. So I appreciate you saying that. And I believe another one of your neighbors may have came in and said Dorothy. But anyways, all I have to say, keep us posted on how it's going. And if it's not getting solved, then we want to know. And maybe we'll divert some of our routes home and go check it out and park and,
appreciate that.
check it out.
Okay, thanks for coming in and alerting us
Good
on your
Appreciate
situation.
Thank you.
We have one more speaker, don't we?
Yes, sir. Our last speaker is Brenda Hammond.
Okay, while Brenda's coming up, I did want to recognize the Planning Commissioner, Rebecca Pollock-Rood, is also here. Rebecca, thank you for your service on the Planning Commission. We had a proclamation earlier. I don't know if you were here, but thank you for your service in planning. Brenda, good afternoon.
Hi. Hi, Graham. Mr. Mitchell. I don't know if any of you remember Isla Ruth Devine. I think you do, right? Isla Ruth was a minister for her church. She would go and also talk to shut-ins, people that couldn't leave their homes, and she was a professional clown. Her and her friends, all in their 80s, were professional clowns. This was from 2005 when we rode on the Flag Day Parade on the Saquon fire truck. I'll pass it around to you. But Isla Ruth, I was thinking about her today because I saw the Red Hat Lady group. And I went, oh, yeah, Isla Ruth, I could just feel her spirit. And she always told me, don't ever apologize for showing your emotions for how you feel at that moment. Just say it will never happen again. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes our public comments, right?
No other comments, sir.
No other comments. Thank you. Thank you to those who took the time to come to today's meeting. Written communications. We have no written communications on today's agenda. There are no public hearings. That takes us to administrative reports. Item 8 is a report from the Downtown El Cajon Business Partners. I'll ask Assistant City Manager Vince DiMaggio to present on this.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor and members of council. As you know, each year the Downtown El Cajon Business Partners presents to you their annual report and financial statement. I'm here just to introduce 2 board members, Mark Clifton and Kathy Zeman, who are here to present the annual financial statement. They're still working on the annual report, so we hope to bring that item back to you before the end of the calendar year. But right now I'll turn it over to Mr. Clifton and Ms. Zeman.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for your support of Hot Fest. It's a great event, and the downtown businesses really do a good job down there, so thank you.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Mark Clifton. I'm the new president of the Downtown Business Partners, and we're here today, as Mr. DiMaggio said, for our financial statement. So I have here our CFO, Kathy Zeman, who will present that now.
So I think everybody has a copy of our financial statement. So basically we have four major things that we do. We have our concerts, we have our car shows along with other events that we have for ourselves and participate with in the city, like ConFest and America on Main. And then we also have a clean and safe program, which comes down during the day. They pick up hundreds of tons of trash, debris, desks, sinks, I mean, you name it, they have picked it up and thrown it away. Much thanks to the city now, they've opened up their yard to us, and now we take our trash there. We don't have to go all the way to Edco to dump it, and so the city has a good idea of what we're bringing in and everything now. And then they clean hundreds of miles of power wash, hundreds of miles of sidewalks and bus stops and promenade and everything else. It's a kind of a hard job to keep up with, actually, but they are doing a really good job. And then we have our nighttime security patrols, and I know that Gary has received our reports. Vince and Graham get our reports every day, and there's several business owners that have requested the reports. So the security uploads a report every night. Anybody that wants it, just let me know, and I will send it to you. And it shows where they have found the homeless sleeping in private property during the night. They also patrol the promenade and so the city property and the county property over at the courthouse and the car parking area. And so that kind of also gives us an idea of if they see trash, we can report that to Clean and Safe the next day for them to pick up. They report graffiti, and then we also report that to Clean and Safe so they can go and verify that graffiti has been reported and cleaned up. And so our nighttime security does a really good job. And so basically those are the things that we spend the money on. Do you guys have any questions or?
Let me see. Is that the end of your presentation?
Yeah, and unless you have other things you want to know. I mean, our car shows. I think you've been to our car shows. They're very successful. As our concerts, we probably had 4,000, 4,500 people on the promenade for our last concert a couple weeks ago, and we have a huge event coming up on the last Wednesday of this month is Trunk or Treat, so it's, again, a full street closure, and we give away a lot of candy, and everybody decorates their cars, and there's lots of picture taking, and it's a very fun event.
Okay, let me see if there's any questions from the council, public comment, and then council discussion. Any questions from council? All right, do we have any speaker cards on this item?
No speaker cards, sir.
Okay. I don't think the council has any questions. You resolved my questions, so I think we're good there.
Okay.
And I think we're appreciative of the work you do, Councilman Kendrick.
Well, I think Downtown Partners has done an outstanding job in making downtown El Cajon look a lot better. And, I've lived in East County since 1956, so I saw old downtown in its splendor, and I've seen it in a tremendous decline, and I think that you have played a huge part in the resurgence of downtown. And I know both of you work really hard with no pay, and I appreciate that. You really care about this community, and that really makes a difference. I was eating lunch one time at one of the outdoor cafes in downtown, and there was a man there with his 10-year-old boy, and I overheard him talking to the boy. He says, "This is what a downtown should look like." And I said, "Hey, we've arrived," and you guys played such a huge part in that. And the car show is packed. It's absolutely wonderful. I got a friend that drives all the way from Lemon Grove to every time they have a concert downtown, and they spend money downtown. And he's always saying, man, downtown's looking really good. So I certainly appreciate what you do, and I'm sure that many, many people in the community and the adjacent communities appreciate how you've played such a huge part in transforming downtown to a place that people want to be.
Thank you.
Okay, I think this is just a administrative report, but I guess we'll take a motion to receive the annual financial statement and audit. If anyone likes to make that motion.
So moved.
Okay, please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote of those present.
All right, thanks for coming. Okay, the second administrative report on today's agenda, item 9, is a report on the El Cajon Animal Shelter. I'll ask Assistant City Manager Vince DiMaggio to present this item.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Goebel and members of the council. This is another annual report that you'll be receiving. As you know, that the San Diego Humane Society operates our local animal shelter here in town. And they have some information they would like to share with us today. And so I will turn it over to Michael Lowry, who is the Chief Financial Officer for the San Diego Humane Society, to present what they've accomplished over the last year at our local animal shelter.
Sounds good. Mr. Lowry, welcome.
Hi there, Council. Thank you for having me today. My name is Michael Lowry. I'm the CFO at San Diego Humane Society. I'd also like to thank Vince and Graham for inviting me here today. Unfortunately, our Senior Director of Government Relations is not able to be here today. She recently gave birth to a cute little baby girl, so that's why you have me instead. I'll give you just a brief background on San Diego Humane Society. We were founded in 1880. We are the oldest and most comprehensive animal welfare organization in San Diego County. San Diego Humane Society is a private nonprofit 501c3 corporation. The majority of our funding comes from two buckets, the community support via contributions, and then the compensation we receive from our 13 city partners for which we provide animal services. During fiscal 23, which is July of 22 through June of 2023, we served over 85,000 animals as an organization. Those services included providing animal care to pets that were admitted to one of our shelters, wildlife rehabilitation, community services like vaccines, spay neuters, administering microchips. We also support the community by providing over 2 million meals to pet parents. We feel that, along with some of the other services we provide, is critical to preventing animals from coming into our care by providing them the resources they need to take care of their animals and keep that pet family together. We operate campuses in San Diego, Oceanside, Escondido, and then obviously the beautiful shelter here in El Cajon. Specific to the services that we provided to El Cajon, we provided services to about 5,400 animals. It was split about 50-50 between animals that were sheltered here and then also community services that we provided to animals from City of El Cajon residents. One of the primary things we do is taking care of animals that present themselves to us. Some of the animals specific to the City of El Cajon that came to us, we had about 1,300 dogs, 1,200 cats, and about 300 other small animals, rabbits, guinea pigs, rodents, reptiles. You'd be surprised at all the different types of animals that make it into one of our shelters. The animals that come to us primarily come via either being a stray animal or an animal that's surrendered by its owner to us because they're no longer able to provide care to it. Nearly all of those animals end up going back out to the community, either via adoptions or being returned to an owner if it's a lost animal. One of the other core functions we provide to the city is administering the dog licensing program. Just over 2,400 dogs were licensed within the City of El Cajon. And then finally, one of the main parts of the contract that we have with the city is our humane law enforcement services. We had 1,700 calls from residents of El Cajon, and these things span from either immediate need type items, a dog bite or an injured animal. They can also be an animal that's running at large, also abandoned animals. We do cruelty investigations, hoarding investigations, welfare checks if somebody has concerns about their animals, and we work with city staff on animal-related noise complaints and barking complaints. That's kind of the gist of the year in review for San Diego Humane Society and the city of El Cajon. I'd like to thank the city and thank the council for entrusting us to provide the services to you and your citizens. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Sounds good. Let me see if we have council has questions before we go to public comment. Nope. See, no, I've got a couple. Okay. What percent of animals that come in are not microchipped?
I don't know that off the top of my head. One of the things to try to minimize that, though, is there is a state law that requires any animal going out has the dogs and cats are microchipped. So any that do come into our care, whether they're reclaimed by their owner or end up getting adopted out, are administered a microchip. So we're trying to bring that percentage down.
I think you held a couple events in El Cajon where they could get free microchip. Do you have any numbers on that by chance?
Not off well, I can tell you that over the past year, 384 El Cajon animals received microchips through our different community events.
Okay, that's good, because when fireworks come, animals run around, and it's hard to reunite them if they're not chipped or licensed.
And we actually this month are having a free microchips for the whole month at our shelters to try to ramp up for the holidays as well.
And if somebody in El Cajon needs to go to the shelter, you will move animals to other shelters to make room for that El Cajon residents.
Yeah, we work
don't
with
get turned away, right?
Correct. Yeah, we work with if it's especially in a reclaim type situation where an animal or an owner comes to us and wants to reclaim an animal. If for whatever reason that animal is at one of the other locations, we'll transport it back to the El Cajon facility. You'd be surprised that there is a decent percentage of El Cajon animals that actually present themselves at the San Diego campus. So sometimes they come to us at another campus as well.
Sure. I think Mr. Ortiz has a question.
Yes, it sparked my memory. I think last meeting we had a discussion regarding homelessness in San Diego, and many of the people who are homeless have pets, and they don't have anywhere to go. I was curious, does the Humane Society have any kind of a program, or do they partner with any cities housing pets for homeless people? Does that program exist? Just off the top of my head, I figured.
Mr. Ortiz, they do, and
Okay.
we actually have an agreement similar. They have an agreement with another city in our county. We're analyzing that, and we hope to bring that back at the next city council meeting. So that's coming up to you guys soon.
Well, I already had the answer. I didn't need to ask you, so thank you.
And then and I'll just also reference the pet food, the pet pantry that we have that provides food, and then supplies to animal owners as well that can't afford them, is another way to try to keep pets with their owners if they're having difficulties financially.
But you don't need to be homeless in order to take
No.
that program. Okay.
No.
Awesome.
If people wanted to make donations, what kind of donations would you take?
We take donations of all sizes. San Diego Humane Society is a 501c3, so they are tax-deductible donations. And roughly half of the support we need to provide all the work that we do comes through donations. So obviously you can go to our website, visit our shelters any way that they are comfortable doing.
And what's your website name?
sdhumane.org.
That's good.
I want to say a quick story about one of my only interactions with the San Diego Humane Society. We were on a walk with our two kids. This is maybe 5 years ago. And we saw a hawk flapping around in a parking lot, and it had gotten its foot and part of its wing stuck to one of those sticky rat traps that you have. And we brought it, we got it in a blanket, and we brought it to our house, and we put it in a box, and we brought it to the San Diego Humane Society. What's your location?
On Gain Street, Project Wildlife.
Exactly, right, yeah. And they were wonderful, and we made a donation, and we've been donating ever since because of that interaction. So the staff was fantastic, and they took care of them, and it was a really cool experience. Appreciate that.
Great.
question. So are you still partnering with Project Wildlife?
Project Wildlife actually merged with us in 2014, so we are one and the same now.
Okay, and are you sending out because I've heard of residents calling and needing assistance from Project Wildlife, and it's been kind of difficult to get someone from Project Wildlife to come out. Are you in need of volunteers? Because this is a perfect, platform. You could put out a call for volunteers now to work with Project Wildlife. I myself used to be a volunteer with Project Wildlife in the 90s. And so I've just heard that has been somewhat of an issue.
Yeah, I mean, anyone that wants to support us either through donations or by volunteering can visit our website, and we have a process where people can volunteer through all the different functions that we do. When it comes to wildlife, there is a balance between, typically it's related to injured wildlife, so in your circumstance are the ones where we step in. If it's just wildlife that's trying to maintain the balance between where we live and where the wildlife lives, then we do try to give advice on how best to coexist and things you can do to try to discourage an animal from maybe coming into your yard that you don't want it to be there. And then also our HLE officers will potentially respond as well if there's an issue that needs response.
Okay, and one more question, and I don't think there's really much, there's not a way to really say it delicately, but I understand that the San Diego Humane Society is a no-kill shelter. Can you tell me how many animals you euthanize a year?
As far as the number, I don't have the number memorized off the top of my head. Last fiscal year, our live release rate was 92%. We do not euthanize a healthy or treatable animal, so the animals that do end up being humanely euthanized, it's because they were either unhealthy physically, were sick, or because of behavior issues. So the no-kill terminology is not how we choose to describe it, because a shelter that's managing the population, there are times where humane euthanasia is the correct path for an animal. But only 8% of the animals that came into our care ended up being humanely euthanized because they were either untreatable for health reasons or behavior reasons.
All right, thank you.
What happens if someone brings in like a possum or a raccoon?
What we'll do is if it's injured or needs assistance, our Project Wildlife team will rehabilitate it and then release it in an agreeable spot to where it's going to be able to thrive. So we have, there are places all throughout the county, and we have agreements with different cities and residents that have places that we can return animals to a proper habitat for them.
Thank you.
And a lot of people talk about coyotes in El Cajon, and the coyotes in the street and coyotes grabbing other animals. You're really not allowed to do any coyote intervention, are you?
Not if they're healthy, no. We were only able to intercede if it appears sick or injured. And that's where, if you do visit our website, we do have information on how to kind of keep your property less desirable from a coyote standpoint, and things you can do to make sure that it's not enticing. Mostly they're just looking for food or shelter, so trying to keep that from being something that looks inviting to a coyote is the key.
Okay. Let me see if there's any public comments on this item.
No public comments, sir.
No public comment item. Okay. Well, thank you for taking the time to come down and speak with us today. Council, this is just an administrative item, but I guess I'll take a motion to receive the annual report from the Humane Society.
Move to receive the annual report.
Okay, please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote of those present.
All right, the last administrative report, item 10, is about a bonfire at Foothills Christian Church. I'll ask the city manager, Graham Mitchell, to tell us about this one.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor and members of the council. If I can get my presentation up, and I'm trying hard not to imagine Councilmember Ortiz going home to pet his hawk and then give him a treat.
We don't have the hawk anymore.
Oh, you don't?
They
I'm
released
sorry.
it. Yeah, it's not a pet hawk.
That's a shame.
There's 3 of them flying around my house right now, and I don't know why he gave them our address, but we'll talk about that later.
All right. Our El Cajon Municipal Code requires anyone conducting a bonfire, there's a couple conditions that allow that to occur. First of all, they're exempt, or they're not allowed unless they meet a couple of different conditions. One of those conditions is that it has to have city council approval. I'm not sure the origins of that, and this is kind of a rare situation, but Foothill Christian Church is planning an event, and they have requested that they have the ability to put in a bonfire in the interior of their property in the parking lot between several other buildings in that cement area, as shown in the diagram here, the aerial photo here. The intent is to have this event this Friday from 6, and from what I understand, the fire would be extinguished at 8 o'clock p.m. As they move on to other activities. If the city council were to grant permission for the bonfire, there are several fire department conditions that have been established, that have been communicated to Foothill Christian Church, and they have agreed to comply with those. And with that, staff's here to entertain the council's direction on whether to allow a bonfire or not.
Let's start with council questions. I guess I'd just like to know, what's the definition of a bonfire?
The code does not identify a definition of the bonfire, as I recall.
Okay. All right. Any comment cards, speaker items?
No speaker card, sir.
Okay. Council discussion and deliberation. Or if somebody wants to go to a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve it.
Is your mic on?
Mic wasn't on. Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve it.
Second.
And before we vote, I asked the city attorney, are we able to get indemnification from the church if we approve this and a spark ends up on a roof somewhere?
Yeah, you could certainly ask for that. I don't. The genesis of this ordinance is likely from Air Quality Control Board, because it does create smoke, and the potential for fire is another problem. But the rule under our local APCDB is that a fire agency may give permission or issue a permit for those things. And so that's what the council is doing as technically the fire agency under that rule. I don't know what conditions. I haven't worked with the city manager to see what conditions, or the department to see what conditions have been required, but certainly if you ask for indemnification, hold harmless agreement, we could put one together in the next 3 days, and so they can get their bonfire conducted. And answering another question, a bonfire is sort of described as an open fire under our code for entertainment or cooking purposes, having an open fire. So all open fires are prohibited unless they're permitted by our ordinance. So.
Okay, I'll ask Mr. Kendrick if you'd be willing to amend your motion to include a hold harmless indemnification as part of the approval process.
Yes, I'll amend that.
Yeah, I think that would protect the taxpayers of El Cajon from some spark ending up on a roof, and we approved it, and now the taxpayers have to pay a part of a settlement. So this protects the taxpayers by doing so. And who had the second? I did. And you're okay with that?
Yeah. I have a question. I'm anticipating that this bonfire isn't going to be 30 feet tall, and
correct. We've actually limited it to 5 feet. There's a height and a diameter ratio that has to occur. So based on the ratio of the bonfire ring, which you're going to bring in cinder blocks to kind of create this ring with a sand bottom, we've limited it to 5 feet in height, and we'll have fire personnel there for safety purposes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. We have a second. Any other discussion? Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote of those present.
Okay, there are no commission reports on today's agenda. Item 11 is our activities report. Mayor Wells are as presented. Mine are as presented. Councilmember Kendrick.
As reported.
And Councilmember Mitchell.
As reported.
And Councilmember Ortiz. As reported. All right, that takes us to joint councilmember reports. There are none today. There's no general information items. So we go to item 16, ordinances, first reading. It's first reading of the proposed ordinance amending Title 15. I'll ask the staff to introduce the item.
Deputy Mayor and City Council members, I'll go ahead and take the lead on this one. This is a our situation where we have the California Fire Code was altered after we approved the 2022 edition, and it was discovered that we have to make certain exceptions applicable to new sections. So it's more or less a cleanup matter, but we do, again, adopt the fire code by reference with the exceptions as stated in the ordinance. Our procedure in the past has been to introduce this ordinance, have a public hearing at the second reading. It's a way that the law allows us to do this. It used to be a requirement, but it's a way to allow it when we adopt codes by reference. So I would ask that if you don't have any questions, you move to introduce the ordinance, the title be read, and then we will be back in 2 weeks with a public hearing.
Sounds good. Council, any questions? Angela, any speaker cards on the item?
No speaker cards, sir.
Okay. If there are no further questions or comments, I'll take a motion.
Yeah, I would move to introduce the ordinance and hold its first reading and request the city clerk to recite the title of the ordinance and direct the city clerk to schedule a public hearing for a second reading and adoption.
I'll second that. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote of those present, and the title reads, An Ordinance Amending Section 15.04.105 of Chapter 15.04 and Sections 15.56.010, 15.56.070, and 15.56.080 of Chapter 15.56 of Title 15 of the El Cajon Municipal Code, adopting amendments to the California Building Code 2022 edition and the California Fire Code 2022 edition by reference.
Okay, thank you. That takes us to the second reading of ordinances. There are none on today's agenda, and that leads us to closed session. The city attorney will recite the title and lead us into closed session.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Members of the City Council, we're recessing to a closed session for a conference with legal counsel on anticipated litigation. It's for the possibility of initiation of litigation pursuant to paragraph 4, subdivision D of section 54956.9 of the California Government Code. There's one potential case.
Okay, thank you. May we have a motion to recess to closed session, please? So moved. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote of those present.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I expect this to be 15 to 30 minutes, so we'll be back hopefully after that time or sooner. The attorney will report on action taken in closed session.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. The City Council met in closed session on one item of anticipated litigation under Government Code Section 54956.9 D4, and direction was given to the city attorney.
Okay, this brings us to adjournment, the regular joint meeting of the El Cajon City Council, El Cajon Housing Authority, successor agency to the El Cajon Redevelopment Agency, held this 10th day of October 2023, is adjourned to Tuesday, October 24th, 2023 at 3 o'clock p.m.